We affirm to the following resolution. Unilateral military force by the United States is justified to prevent nuclear proliferation. I'd like to start by defining some terms. Nuclear proliferation, an increase in nuclear armaments. Unilateral, done or undertaken by one person or party. Military force, entailing intervention by force of arms to suppress the spread of nuclear weapons. Justified, to prove a good reason for the actions. Contention 1. The success in East Asia is a testament to how reliable unilateral military force is. Subpoint A. Judge, we currently have a significant military presence on a Korean demilitarized zone, which is the border between North and South Korea. If it wasn't for our 28,000 American troops stationed there, we would have seen immediate mobilization of North Korea's nuclear weapons against our allies in South Korea, Guam, the Philippines, Japan, Hong Kong, Palau, and even ourselves. Thanks to our efforts there, the country with the most threat to the U.S. nuclear force is now dormant due to our intimidating military force in the peninsula. Subpoint B. Our biggest success story of nuclear dismantling through militarization was in Japan. If it wasn't for the swift military invasion by America in the mid-1940s, Japan would have amassed nuclear weapons that could have been used against the American public. Judge, the above successful outcomes are a direct result of the U.S.'s unilateral military intervention. Contention 2. The Cuban Missile Crisis is yet another reason to justify unilateral military action. Subpoint A. In October of 1962, the then President of America, John F. Kennedy, used unilateral military force to successfully deproliferate Cuba's Soviet-made nuclear stockpile. JFK authorized the naval blockade around Cuba until both the United States and the Soviet Union came to an agreement about dismantling the stockpile. In exchange for the Soviets dismantling the nuclear stockpile, the U.S. agreed to never attack Cuban mainland and dismantle their own nuclear stockpile in Turkey. Without the unilateral blockade, we can believe that the stockpiles in Turkey and Cuba would never have been dismantled through such diplomatic means. Today, both Cuba and Turkey are now nuclear weapons free, thanks to the diplomatic actions that came from quick unilateral military force. Contention 3. The United States' military force minimizes civilian death while making nuclear deproliferation a much easier option. Subpoint A. Judge, while the negative will most likely feed you the idea of our armed men and women going into a hostile nation to fight a war we can't win, let me tell you this would be an unfair exaggeration of what the affirmative is imposing. According to Jason Ellis, a senior research professor at the National Defense University, we have the capabilities to develop strike capabilities that can achieve operational objectives, including the destruction of the assets located in hardened and or buried targets, with attention to minimizing collateral efforts. What he is stating is that the U.S. Defense Department already has capabilities to use military force to reach nuclear deproliferation, as well as minimizing side effects. We, as America, have the technology to safely deter nuclear proliferation. Now it's our time to exercise it. Judge, where other countries shrink away from drastic military actions, it is our time, as Americans, to rise up to the challenge to save lives in the disastrous and expensive potential nuclear war. In 2007, Israel carried out an American-supported strike against a weapons facility that was later under suspicion and later confirmed for housing nuclear weapons in Syria. It is our duty as Americans to rid the world of its nuclear weapons, and whether the military actions are unilateral or not should have no effect on the level of education. And we stand in affirmation. Thank you. How long was that?